Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the World Online Racing YouTube channel. F1 23 is here, and we are headed to the Losail International Circuit for Lobby 2 of the PC Social Races this evening after watching a very dramatic esports invitational last night. The drivers are going to be itching to get going on the new F1 game. Of course, Qatar new to the F1 game entirely. Of course, brought in as a sort of a replacement for tracks cancelled due to COVID all the way back in 2021. It's now been given a permanent seat on the F1 calendar, and it is a very exciting circuit. Lots of high drama, and it's going to be incredible for racing. If you don't know who I am, my name is Dan Field, and I'll be unfortunately taking you through alone in this one this evening. However, I don't think it's all too bad having to listen to me for an hour, but yeah, really looking forward to how this one turns out. We got a fantastic grid shaping up at the minute. I can actually probably show you how it's all dust off. Of course, heading into this one, it's been a while since I've commentated. A lot of new faces that we're seeing in this lobby. A lot of these guys very young and promising prospects in the future of F1 Esports. In the Red Bull, we've got Jan DBR and Thiago Costa. Then we've got Ferrari. It's Richard Sprogis. I'm saying that one right. And then Robert Dinulescu. If anyone in the live chat would like to correct me of any names that I'm saying wrong, please feel free to do so. We've also got in the Mercedes Dimitri. I am sorry about these names. Minich, and then Ryan Grob. For Alpine, we've got WOR Rainbow and Ivan Santamaria. McLaren is TV8 Mate X, and then Akos Szenzensky. I really hope I'm saying these names right. In the McLaren, Alfa Romeo is Deher and Bastian Brunner. Then Aston Martin is Julio Figueira and Bas Bremer. And then Daniel Gottschalk and Goji in the Haas. AlphaTauri is Walter and Daniel. And then rounding out the grid in the Williams is Timo Kuipers and Dominator. And already we're getting ready to get into this lobby. I'll bring you back over to the we are just loading into the session. And my name, wow, so the first Ferrari, I got that name right. I think it was Richard Sprogis. I promise I'll get these names right as the session goes on. But everyone in the live chat, let me know how you're enjoying F1 23 so far. I've only got a handful of hours on the game, but you know what? I'm having a lot of fun, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how these guys who are a lot better than me at the F1 game actually get on tonight. Of course, Qatar, very high-speed circuit, lots of opportunities to invalidate your runs. We'll get a full look at it once we load into the lobby. Just 15 seconds to go, and then we'll be heading in. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. It's been so long since I've commentated. I think the last time was probably the WOR PC Tier 1 finale would be the last time I sat in this chair and got the microphone out and commentated, but I'll bring you all in to the game. Nice and sunny here in Doha. Of course, the Losail International Circuit. It's most notably known for its MotoGP races. It's been hosting them since 2004, ever since it opened. The F1 Rodeo has only come and gone once so far. They'll be headed back there later in the season, though. And of course, heading into WOR, I do believe, will be on the calendar. I'd be surprised if not, because typically when a new track comes out, everyone's excited to drive it. I've driven it myself, and it is very difficult to get absolutely perfect. I'm trying to think, what do I want on screen? Probably not the tyres, because it does take up quite a lot of room. I'll get the track map in the bottom corner. You can see who the first drivers to exit the pit lane. We've got one of the Aston Martins. This is Julio Figueira, a driver that I'm not too familiar with, and he's just taking along on an outlap for the time being. Of course, Aston Martin, a very competitive car in real life this season. Who knows, maybe that'll translate over into WOR, repping the number 25. See what he can do on his outlap. Into the second sector, we're right on board through here to late apex through this right-hander, and then we get a short run headed up to final parts of the lap. You're not going to see too many overtakes through this sector. It's definitely going to be down to turn number 1 and turn number 6 is obviously the most overtake, the brunt of them into this one. One thing I really do love about this track is this triple right-hander. It's almost completely flat through here, and then you have to back on the bench and slightly lift off through there even. Immediately slings you into an X left and into the last corner now, which is a bit of a heavy braking zone right before the DRS straight, but it's a very long-winded right-hander. Julio Figueroa is going to get our qualifying session underway. There's an Alfa Romeo and a Ferrari exiting the pit lane at the moment. We'll hope that they do not get in the way of the Aston Martin driver headed in towards turn number 1, taking it in 4th gear and then trying to get speed on the exit. Really using the extremities of this track, cutting back over to the left-hand side, getting a nice run through here and now in towards the short run up towards turn number 4. We're not going to see too many overtakes. Could see some side-by-side action through turn number 5. And we're getting a short run down to turn number 6. It's the heaviest braking zone along this circuit, and you could definitely see some dive bomb opportunities. It sort of reminds me of Torre Vips in Portimao. Of course, there's not really an elevation change through here, but the nature of the corner is mostly the same. Through now the second sector, the Alfa Romeo got out the way of Julio very nicely here. Ferrari still in the way, and if he does catch him at the wrong opportunity, arguably this is the worst place to actually find yourself behind another car, because you're in the triple right-handers, catching the dirty air of the car in front, and he's just not got out of the way at all. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the pair of them. They're both sent spearing off the circuit, and that is Richard Sprogis getting a 5 place grid penalty for that contact. Completely sat on the racing line. The Aston Martin, he was given right of way, should have been let through, and that is definitely not the most ideal way to start out this session. But Robert Denulescu is going to be the first one to get a lap on the board, and it's going to be a 1 minute 21.012. It is a very fast lap around here. I believe it's 287 kilometers per hour average speed, something around that margin. Granted, this was for 2021 regulation, so it could be a little bit different heading into this one. Bas Bremer goes 8 tenths slower than Robert, and Diominator. These names are really going to be killing me this evening. 1 minute 20.8 is the quickest time so far, and then Ryan Grob is going to be able to match that and do it ever so slightly better. And then Akos Szynski, hopefully I'm saying that one right as well, the first one on the board to set a 1 minute 20.7. We'll see who else we can find. We've got Walter heading through the final corner. His teammates just coming into the pit lane now. We'll see what Walter can do as he comes across the line. What's it going to be for the Alpha Tauri driver? It's P7 for the time being, out of 10 drivers, so half the grid setting laps here, the other half struggling to get on the board. Timo Kuipers has unfortunately invalidated his lap time, although Dimitar Minic is on a lap at the minute. He's just crossed in to the final sector now, donning the black Mercedes. Made its return. Got some success. Mercedes looking very competitive in real F1 as Deha goes to the top of the board. Just 300s ahead of Akos, and then pulling back into the pit lane is a Ferrari and a Mercedes. That brings us to the end of the first run of laps, and overtaking into the pit lane. It's a little bit dangerous, but there's a very wide entrance through there. I don't know actually why you can go around about 3 wide through there. Very interesting indeed. Let's see who else we want to be looking at through here. Maybe have a look at Ivan Santamaria getting this lap underway in the Alpine, headed down in towards turn 1. We'll bring up the telemetry to see the max speed. So it's going to be around about 200, just under 200 miles per hour for Ivan Santamaria, heading now through into the first sector. And really just use all the track possible. The best run through it here and carry as much speed as possible. So up towards turn number 4, getting onto the brakes ever so slightly, down into the 5th, immediately back onto the power. Slight lift off through turn number 5, and it's really heavy braking in towards the next left, down into 3rd gear, power onto the power very carefully. But of course, with the new handling model on this F1 game, it is a lot nicer, it's a lot more lenient on you in terms of the platform. So a lot nicer, I would say. The handling model, I think they have nailed it this year. I think everyone really would agree that F1 22 didn't have the best handling in the world, as Ivan Santamaria goes purple in Sector 2. It's looking good for the Alpine driver at the minute as they head through now the final sector. Very fast through here. We saw a lot of issues with the curbs on the outside in the 2021 race. I think it was Pierre Gasly or someone got a puncture through there. I'm not quite too sure who it was, but here comes Ivan Santamaria to the line now. Going to go quickest of them all, as it is going to be right at the end of the straight. 1 minute 20.811, so possibly lost a little bit of time in that second sector, in that third sector. And of course they were purple in sector 2. Let's see who else we can go on a lap with. Daniel Gottschalk is unfortunately invalid on their most recent attempt. Richard Sprogas already getting elbows out in this session. He is purple though in sector 2. The FVR representative, I'm familiar with the team, not really familiar with the name. We could see a rising star on our hands. You do have to watch out for a lot of these guys. They'll be racing in and around about that tier 2, tier 3 scene come the actual season 15, set to be bigger and better than ever as Julio Figueroa goes into P6 with just over 10 minutes left to go in this session. Richard Sprogas comes to the line on 1 minute 20.503 from him. A very nice time indeed. The first lap of the day for the Ferrari driver this evening, and it is 2/10 clear of anyone else just over that at the minute. So a very nice time indeed. How we haven't seen second runs from the likes of Deha, Akos Szynski, Ivan Santamaria. You know, when the guys set their lap times earlier on in the session, the track's going to be a little bit less rubbered in through here. So take a little bit of a breather. Not too much happening at the moment. We'll see who else we can find on a run. Got WOR Goji at the minute in the first, and actually it's just crossing into the second sector. This track kind of all does blend into one little mesh for me. A lot of the corners are very similar to one another, so it is a little bit difficult to differentiate them from each other, especially with the amount of fast right-handers along this circuit. But in towards sector 3 now for Goji, 53.9. I'm not too sure what times could actually be considered quick or not, but it seems like he's confident on this run so far. All right on board with the man in the hat. I really like this livery. It's not grown on me in recent weeks. Now through the final corner, missing an apex a little bit on the inside there, but opening up the DRS nonetheless. We'll see what Goji can do. First lap of the day to come across the line. What's it going to be? It'll be P12, 1 minute 21.502 for WOR Goji. As I believe someone's just come across the line. I think it might have been JR Daniel. It's at a 1 minute 22.8. Another time's come out on the board. I think it was Bas Bremer. Yeah, it was 0.8 of an improvement on their previous best time. Very nice effort indeed from them both actually. Aston Martin, both of them inside the top 10. That could hurt them though come race time when it comes to pit stops. Of course they're going to have to work around being close to one another. Double stacks really aren't possible in this game. Here we see Dimitri come up towards the line. Dimitri Minich in his Mercedes. What can it be? Goes just behind his teammate by 0.04 of a second. Ryan Grob in 5th, and then Dimitri Minich in P6. Not that long left in the session as Denominator has it come across the line with a 1 minute 20.715. Go P3 on the second row of the grid. Got another time on the board. That was Thiago Costa going into the top 5. So rapid improvements so far in this session. There's still 3 drivers yet to set a time. We've got Timo Kuipers, Matex, and then Daniel Gottschalk. And Timo Kuipers actually on an outlap at the moment. We'll ride on board with the lobby host for this evening. He comes out the final corner. We'll see how it goes as he opens up the DRS and heads down towards turn number 1. Then beginning this lap through the first corner, carrying as much speed as possible. Dip to the right hand side, then bring it immediately back over to the left to run into the corner. Good job from the McLaren to get out of the way of Timo as he continues this lap towards the end of the first sector. We'll see what it is. It's 26.646, the slowest point of the circuit. Now turn number 6. Possibly get a little bit of slipstream off of the Alpine there, but nevertheless keeps going on this run, really close to running out wide. It is very easy to invalidate on this lap, and that may be why we haven't seen everyone complete their laps by this point in the session. And here comes Kuipers now towards the end of the second sector. This is going to be purple for the Williams driver. Quite 53.6. It seems like they want to be in the mid 53s by the end of the second sector to really be on a strong time, but nevertheless through now the next left-hander, throwing the car into that corner, riding the curb on it, using all the track possible. It's looking like a really committed lap from Timo Kuipers. Will take a ride off board, see what he can do then as he comes up towards the line, going in underneath the Qatar Eric Gantries. And wow, that looked like a very quick time on board. Over a 1 minute 21.198. I'd say disappointing for the Williams, but it is a time on the board. He's off the back row of the grid. As I was trying to see who else we can find on a lap. We've got Richard Sprogus, unfortunately invalid on this attempt. Julio Figueira had their first lap impeded. The Red Bull getting out of the way a lot nicer than the Ferrari did earlier on. Julio is up by 0.3 of a second, so if he finds strong improvement in this final sector, we could see a new time at the top of the order. Here it is then, coming out the final corner and coming down the main straight. See what time it is. It's going to be on the board. Currently P10 to the line, 1 minute 20.595. P2 on the front row for Julio Figueira. It's a very impressive time with just under 5 minutes left to go in this session. It says Q1, but I don't believe we're having a full qualifying. I think it is just the one. Sorry, it's just the one session here. This is deciding the grid. If someone in the live chat could gracefully, oh dear, there's a Williams that's gone off there. That might have been Timo Kuipers on the circuit, his teammate in the pit lane. So Timo Kuipers lighting up the tyres, heading into the pit lane. Same goes for WOR Rainbow. And someone in the live chat, please let me know if we are doing a full qualifying or short qualifying format, because it says Q1 at the top as Matex goes to the top, not to the top of the order, but he gets on the board. 1 minute 21.199. It's P15 for the time being, and we'll bring the gaps up at the moment. Don't want to get the details on the board. I don't know how to change the time to the leaders, but you can see relatively close grid thus far. The top two separated by less than a tenth. Really does get close throughout that sort of mid-pack, lower top 10 in towards the teens. It does get very close through there. I can see Akko Szynski and Thiago Costa have set the exact same lap time at the minute in P6 and P7. We'll see who can break their deadlock. They're currently sitting on a 1 minute 20.736. We'll see who is able to get ahead. Only a few of these names I do actually recognise. That's mostly just from, watching WOR in the past and then seeing them on Twitter and such. I know the likes of Dimitri Minic, Bas Bremer, Bastian Brunner as well, WOR Rainbow. A lot of these names sort of unknowns to me. I don't know a lot of these guys, and I'm very excited to see the quality of grid that we've got this evening. As the session is beginning to wind down, drivers are strapping on their last fresh set of soft compound attire. They're going to get ready for their final outlaps in this session. JR Daniel, though, is on a push lap at the minute in the AlphaTauri. It's a very nice livery. I do think so. I like the red Orlan accents. Of course, Robert Kudetza is present in the AlphaTauri garage. Currently at the moment, Daniel is up by 7/10 of a second, but running out wide through that. Out wide again. Not look good for the AlphaTauri. Riding the curve, riding the wall even, into the pit lane. You can get away with that without getting any damage. Like a decent length to get into the pit lane. So everyone watching in the live chat at the minute, let me know who your bets are on for pole position. First out on the circuit is Dimitri Minic, getting his outlap over and done with. We'll see what it can be with just 2 minutes left to go in this session. Daniel retires in the pit lane. He'll be starting from last on the grid, but here comes Dimitri. See what he can do as he heads down towards the start-finish straight to get this lap underway. Down in towards turn number 1, then flinging the car towards the apex of the corner. We'll get the telemetry up for this lap is now in towards the next left, using all the track possible through this first sector that is flowing around this circuit. This next is going to be a popular choice for the drivers. In towards now turn number 4 and then keep it completely flat. Slight lift through there, 6th gear in turn number 5, then heavy braking down towards turn number 6, up by just 0.05 of a second. Needs to make up the gap of 0.3 to be able to contest with the likes of Richards, Sprogus and Julio Figuera. In towards the second sector, where it's tricky to keep it on the circuit, especially out of that right-hander, that left-hander through there. Towards the end though of the second sector split, the improvement is 900 some cars in the way through here, and it's going to catch the dirty air of the Alpine. The Alpine does get out of the way before any contact was imminent. However, that is certainly going to hurt the chances of Dimitri to set a pole time, and everyone just all over the circuit trying to get out of the way of the man on the hot lap who's come out a bit early in this session and invalidates out the final corner. There's no more battery in that Mercedes, and unfortunately with that invalidation, this lap time is going to go down the drain. It would have only netted Dimitri P9 ahead of Robert. However, that is not the case for him this evening. We're trying to see who is now in at the final sector. We've got a Haas car of Gottschalk towards the line, but I think that was just a outlap being completed. Akos Azensi comes across the line, set a 1 minute 20.6. He goes ahead of Deha and in towards the second row of the grid. The other McLaren of Matex coming up towards the line now. I think that was an outlap being complete. That was an outlap being completed. So we've got the final runs in this qualifying session. Deha is next up to cross the line, and he is up by 0.2 of a second in sector 1 and 2 to come across the line now. We have a new provisional pole sitter, a 1 minute 20.412 for Deha. Goes to the top of the order. Dominator is going to stay in P6. We've got a few more cars coming up towards the line. Julio Figuera cannot improve on P4. Bas Bremer is unfortunately not improving on this lap time. Walter coming up towards the line next, unfortunately was invalid on that attempt. The next up is an Alpine car. That is Ivan Santamaria to go P4 and onto the second row of the grid. A very nice time indeed. We've got Richard Sprogus now coming towards the line, up by 0.2 of a second, and a 1 minute 20.316 lays down the gauntlet for the rest of the drivers. 2 Red Bulls now coming up towards the line. It's going to be Thiago Costa and Jan DBR. I don't believe either of them are going to be able to improve on their grid position. And then a whole heap of cars coming up towards the line. Next we've got one of the Alpines. That will be Rainbow, unfortunately staying in at P19. And the last car, Haas, came across the line. I'm not too sure which one that was. I think it was Daniel Gottschalk. That is P13 from him. So no one is able to contest with a 1 minute 20.3 of Richard Sprogus. He's going to start alongside Deha, so it's an all Ferrari powered front row to start this race off. And then Ryan Grob in the Mercedes in P3 alongside Ivan Santamaria rounding out the top 5. Julio Figuera, and that brings us to the end of this session. Now, I'm not too sure if we're going into the race at this point or if we're just going into the next qualifying session, but I guess we'll wait and see, as might have had some lobby issues. I think we're just waiting for one of the McLarens to get service. So yeah, all these guys that come into the pit lane. I always do think it is better to take the flag at the end, because it doesn't make a difference. You know, you're not completing a lap time if you've invalidated, but it does just save this procedure of getting all the cars into the pit lane. And we'll wait for that to reset. There we go. That brings us to the end of, indeed, our short qualifying session. So Richard Sprogus is going to be starting on pole, but of course, how can I forget that 5-place grid penalty for the drama at the start of the session? It's netted him a 5-place grid penalty, which means Deha will be starting on a pole position alongside Ryan Grob in P2, Ivan Santamaria in P4, Julio Figuera in P5. I think it's P3 for Ivan Santamaria, P4 for Julio Figuera. I believe it's Akos Szezensky in P5, P6 for Sprogus, and then the rest is as follows. Dominator in P7, P8 for Thiago Costa, Jan DBR, and Robert Dinilescu, rounding out the top 10. Dimitri Minic and Bastian Brunner on row number 6. Then behind them is Daniel Gottschalk and Bas Bremer. Matex and Walter start alongside each other, and then rounding out the grid we have Timo Kuipers, WOR Goji, WOR Rainbow, and JR Daniel. And that brings us to the end of our qualifying runs. the grid is set for this race. The drivers will be locking in their strategies momentarily. But that was a very exciting end to qualifying. We saw a few guys improve and go right to the top of the order. Of course, Richard Sprogis would have been on pole position if it weren't for that collision with Julio Figueroa. Really unfortunate, but that is the case between them. However, just got to brush it off his shoulders. He knows he's got the pace in the back of that Ferrari, so definitely could mount a challenge heading into this one. Anyone who's watching in the live chat at the minute, we have 21 viewers for the time being. Let me know who you think is going to be taking the win in this one. Who's going to be starting F1 23 off with a bang? This game certainly has a lot of exciting prospects. Looked like a very dramatic and competitive esports invitational last night, and I think that talent and that level of commitment bleeds in to these tiers. So I'm very much looking forward to getting this one underway. I'm not too sure if we're doing a lobby restart. I'm going to quickly check the Discord. Never mind. We've got the formation lap rolling. Back into the game scene. You can see the tyre strategy on your screen. It's looking like a medium to hard. We'll see what everyone has started on. There's a bit of a mixture throughout the grid. So we've got Deha, Julio Figueroa, Bastian Brunner, Timo Kuipers, Goji and Daniel, all on the mediums, and the rest of the grid on the hard compound tyres. Now the difference is the level of grip for the mediums is going to be a lot greater in the beginning of the race, but they will fall off a lot harder than the hard compound of the tyre. They will certainly have to pit earlier than the rest of the grid. There's been some contact between Dominator and Thiago Costa. They've been disqualified from the formation lap. Of course, they'll still get to take part in the race, but the implication of that is they're not going to be able to warm up their tyres. They're going to be slow off the start. I'd imagine we'll have to watch out for them dropping down through the order as the race gets underway. As these guys just going to take it a nice leisurely pace through here. I'd imagine once the first lap gets underway, everyone's going to be going hell for leather, doing their best to get ahead of their rivals and really show them who's boss heading into this game. Just adjusting my microphone. Sorry about the loud noises there. I'm going to sit up here because this is a momentous occasion. This is the first race for a lot of these guys on F1 23, and it is certainly going to set a precedent heading in towards season 15 of WOR, as now all of these guys are going to be coming through the final corners on previous games from 2021 and prior to that. The AI would take over at this point, but of course I do like this. You get to bring yourself into the grid slot. All these guys got to match their grid markers. If they're too far forwards, they're going to get reset. So they've got to weave their way through the traffic. Here we are then. The grid going to be forming up. Deha unfortunate to miss the starting slot, and you can see all right on board with him. Look at the difference in the grid slot for him. He's so far back in comparison to Ryan Grob. Now the last car going to be pulling in to the spot. It is Timo Kuipers, and then we'll get ready to get this race underway. Here we are then, getting ready for the start of the social race here in WOR. And we are green. It looks to be a good start from Ivan Santamaria. Already going to be jumping Ryan Grob, heading down in towards turn number 1. He got bogged down in the Mercedes, and Santamaria is going to look to go at the inside of Deha. Little bit of contact between the pair of them, and there's an Aston Martin spinning around almost. He's been saved by the rest of the pack, and they're all going to be shuffling through one another as it's chaos further down the order. The leaders, Ivan Santamaria following in behind Deha. Yellow flags in sector 1. That's Walter that's gone around, and then Daniel Gottschalk has had an incident somewhere along the road as well. Timo Kuipers with a fantastic start already up into P12, making the use of the medium compound of tyres. Dimitri Minic has had a fantastic getaway up into P5 off the start. He's going to go down the inside of Dominator at the end of the first sector, heading in towards sector 2 where Deha leads from Ivan Santamaria. Akos Zizensky up into P3, fourth for Richard Sprogis, and then some positions being changed further back behind Ryan Grob with a terrible start, really getting bogged down, probably didn't get the revs right. It is certainly different to what it was on the last game, and unfortunately he's been caught out. It's dropped from P2 all the way down into P6 and crucially behind his teammate. That means Dimitri is going to have priority when it comes to the pit stops. We won't be seeing them for a long while though, so there's plenty of opportunity for everything to change heading into this one. But at the end of the first lap, we've already got a time penalty for Dominator. 3 seconds for 3 track extensions. Deha leads the way though ahead of Ivan Santamaria, and it is crucial for the Alfa Romeo driver to get away from everyone else behind, because he's got 5 cars all on a set of the hard compound tyres. These guys will be able to phase into this race a lot nicer than the medium shod Alfa Romeo. He's got to do his best to get away from the pack. Crucially, I'd say get out of DRS range, although it is only down 1 straight that actually is in effect. There's got a few guys in the pits: Robert Dinalescu, Rainbow, Goji and Walter. All of them caught up in lap 1 incidences. I'm curious to know the situation with Julio Figueroa, because he was sent into almost a full spin heading through the first corner, but I think contact from the rest of the pack actually was able to save the Aston Martin driver and keep him in this race, as Dominator continues to fall down the order. He's under the mercy of Bastian Brunner heading in towards the 3rd sector. Could be the closest gap that we've got at the moment, although Akos Szynski is coming under pressure from Richard Sprogis. See what can happen through here as the Alfa Romeo on the back of the Williams in towards the final few corners. Now can he maybe send a move up the inside? It'll certainly be a courageous send. He hasn't gone for it this time by, however, following in the wheel tracks. He's got the ERS active and fastest laps being traded throughout the entire order. Here comes Bastian Brunner up the inside of Dominator for P8. In towards the first corner they go. Dominator not really putting up much of a fight, and Bastian Brunner has made up the place. Let's have a look at the detailing. Who's made up the most positions in this Grand Prix so far? There's been plenty of changes, and the biggest winners at the moment are JR Daniel and then Dimitri Minic, as Akos Szynski in P3 with a time penalty. It's not looking good as Rainbow, oh dear, gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Some other big winners in this one are Timo Kuipers, Matex and Brunner. They're all up a handful of positions, and the biggest losers in this one, Robert Dinalescu, and then we've got Ryan Grob dropping 4 places, Jan DBR dropping 4 places as well. Other than that though, it's been a relatively tame start to this social race. Not too many battles at the front of the order, although Deha has not done a good job of clearing the rest of the pack. A little bit of lag issues I believe we are seeing at the moment. Hopefully that they'll just clear up as the race goes on, but DRS is enabled this time by, and Ivan Santamaria is well within that 1 second window that he needs to mount a challenge on Deha. Off the exit of the final corner and activating the DRS, turns on the battery now and powers down the straight to look to the outside line, heading in towards the first corner. Richard Sprogis as well is making a move for P3 in behind. The pair of them with almost identical moves get ahead of their rivals. So now the new top 4, Santamaria, Deha, Sprogis, Szynski. See what we can find through here. Dominator coming to blows with, oh dear, Julio Figueroa sent into the wall. A little bit of damage, I believe, on the Aston Martin. We just caught that one there. We saw a yellow flag further back behind as well. That might have been JR Daniel. It's certainly been a very scrappy start to this race. My voice already going with how much action we have seen thus far. Okay, as this race continues on, Ryan Grob really has come into this race nicely. He's dropped a number of positions, but he is making them back up as Deha continues to struggle on his medium tyres. Richard Sprogis is going to get by in the second place. We hardly ever see moves. Ivan Santamaria has been able to shoot up the road. Sprogis now to do his best to track him down. Heading in towards the final sector they go. Akos Szynski is going to have his crosshairs firmly placed on the rear of that Alfa Romeo. Off the exit of the final corner they go. DRS is going to be activated now. And can the McLaren get the run on the Alfa Romeo? Headed down in towards turn number 1. They go. Looks to the inside line. Deha dropping like a fly down the order, and being on the medium tyres, it's only going to get worse from this point onwards. Akos Szynski makes up that position and is in to P3. Thiago Costa gets by on Dominator. Luckily in a more stable fashion than Julio Figueroa, who's now into the pit lane. We've still seen no retirements so far in this race, which is good to see at this point. So we'll have to wait and see as this race continues on. Richard Sprogus now with a 3-second time penalty. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire field ends up with a penalty towards the end of this race. That's going to make deciding who wins this social race an absolute nightmare, because on lap number 5 of this race we have had 4 penalties already. You can actually bring it up on your screens now. Rainbows was for speeding in the pit lane. Another one for Akos Szynski. That is now 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Deha coming under pressure from Ryan Grubb. So close to contact between the pair of them. It was a committed move from the Mercedes driver, and he gets by on the Alfa Romeo. Now from 4th down to 7th, it is Mercedes or Alfa Romeo. Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, and for good measure, Deha picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think we're going to see a number of them as this race continues on. Yellow flags in Sector 2. That would be JR Daniel. Unfortunately, it really just has not gone his way thus far. Here's Dimitri Minic on the back of Deha, and we've got a move for the lead as well. Richard Sprogus getting by on Ivan Santamaria. Did an excellent job of tracking down the Alpine and gets on by in spectacular fashion in the first corner. There seemed to be some sort of incident up ahead. There's yellow flags everywhere at this point in the race. Jan DBR and Timo Kuipers seemingly having a fantastic battle at this point in the race. Jan DBR getting the better of Timo, as now we've got our first retirement of the day. Daniel, unfortunately, is going to be retiring. And he sped into the pit lane. That is typically a sign of a driver not wanting to continue in the Grand Prix. Apologies, everyone. I seem to be quite tired this evening, although this race is certainly going to do its best to kick me up the backside, get me back into the swing of things. Also very warm in my room too, so I think that is inhibiting my ability to commentate ever so slightly. There's more penalties coming out at this point. I don't even know what to say. I mean, some of these guys at the end of this race might actually get disqualified. I think it's, 30 seconds worth of time penalties you can get before the game just decides you've had enough and you're out of the races. Rainbow's going to retire. We've already lost an LSU as well. Ivan Santamaria is coming onto the back once again of Richard Sprogus. Last time by, it was the other way around, but Ivan Santamaria now looking up the inside. At least we're having a competitive race at the front of the order. And Richard Sprogus not going to take this one lying down. They're coming close to contact between the pair of them. He's got the inside line now for the next left-hander. Is they going to run side by side through the first sector? Richard Sprogus getting his elbows out, defending this lead, but heading now in towards turn number 4. Ivan Santamaria looks potentially towards a move up the inside of maybe turn number 6. We see a dive bomb from the Alpine. Akos Szynski also getting involved in this scrap. A little bit of a snap from the McLaren into the braking zone. It's a fantastic showing that we're seeing so far in this race. And now Ryan Grubb getting back involved, recovering really well from his awful start in this Grand Prix. He's now back ahead of his teammate and challenging for a podium position. Fastest lap of the race comes out from Julio Figueira with a 1:24.262. Of course, points really don't matter at all, and actually in WOR there are no fastest lap points, so really there is no need for that to be sort of a factor in this one. But he's got the freshest tyres of everyone. We'll just have a check-in on what everyone is utilising at the minute. The top 5 all on the same tyre they started on, which is all the same hard compound of tyre. Surely with how close this grid is heading in towards lap number 8, we're going to see a spectacular bout in towards the first braking zone. Here they go then. Richard Sprogus once again going to have to defend from Ivan Santamaria, heading down in towards turn 1, defending to the inside line. The Alpine looks now towards the left-hand side. He has to go the long way around into the first corner, and the Ferrari shuts the door. However, he's still got the momentum. He's still following right behind on the rear of Sprogus, who gets a slight snap off the exit of turn number 3, and now in towards 4 they go, looking to the inside line. Ivan Santamaria goes. They're going to run wheel to wheel through turn number 4 and 5, so close to contact between the pair of them, and somehow Richard Sprogus with a fantastic defense of P1. Now Ryan Grubb looking to the outside of Akos Szynski in towards turn number 6, where they're going to get the power down as early as possible. Grubb has to back out through here. No, he's going to go late on the brakes, goes down the inside of the McLaren, and they're going to run wheel to wheel for P3 as they head through the second sector. The Mercedes has got the better of the McLaren for the time being. However, back to the inside line goes Akos Szynski in all of this. Richard Sprogus is just able to jump up the grid, although he's flying away from the rest of the pack. Grubb still on the inside of Szynski through the third sector. And oh dear, what? What? Hello? Okay. What? What am I saying? Huh? Always gives me a little bit of time to rest my voices. I have no idea what's happening. Okay. Fantastic, I suppose. I mean, I'm gonna check the Discord. Just checking what's happened here. I'm not too sure why we're back at the start of the race, but we were seeing a fantastic fight for P3. You know, we were seeing a lead fight in this one, and it's just been taken away from us. What has happened here? Are we going to get a lobby restart? I mean, I'd hope we don't have to restart, because I was really getting into that race. I was invested. So now we've got everyone being disqualified from the session. What? We did 9 laps of this race. That's sad. Maybe we can get 35% race into this one instead of doing the whole 50%. I think, yeah, everyone is sort of unanimously agreeing on that. I'll bring you out of that then, and I'll bring you back over to the intermission screen. Codemasters F1 strikes again. The game just decides to randomly crash the lobby in the middle of the race and then put us back into the starting sequence. I'm not too sure what's happened whatsoever. And wow, heading back into this one, I'm not too sure what to think about at all. I'm gonna look up some LaSalle facts, just for fun. Of course, it was the site of the 2015 Qatar Grand Prix in MotoGP. It was a fantastic battle between the Yamahas and the Ducatis. I watched that race over today. It's incredible to see. Of course, this circuit, breaking ground in 2003, has been the host of the Qatar Grand Prix in MotoGP ever since. They've also got a contract for World Endurance Championship, I believe, in the next year or so. Of course, F1 has now got a 10-year deal with Qatar as well to host a race. I don't know if it is going to be always at LaSalle. It would make sense for it to be. It is a quite exciting circuit, and it took 58 million to make this circuit, and it is certainly living up to that. It's a very grand and luxurious circuit. Lots of stuff around the paddock, and everyone's voting for the lobby, and I think it is unanimous. People sort of are wanting to do the 35%. I really do not want to sit through there, do a whole 29 laps when we already did 9 of them. My voice already is dying. But that is also going to open the door to some different strategy options. Maybe we could see the soft compound of tyre. I know it is certainly possible. In my career mode, I did Saudi Arabia. Of course, I've just come out of F1 there. Around Saudi Arabia, I did a 35% race in my career mode, and it was definitely doable. I did softs to mediums, and yeah, it felt okay. Tire drop off is insane on this game. It is once you get into the first few laps, around like lap number 10 or something, those mediums are going to drop off incredibly. That is where the advantage of the hards is certainly going to swing in that way. But yeah, I think it is definitely possible for the mediums to softs to be possible, soft to mediums. Maybe we won't even see the hard compound of tyre heading into this one. The lobby is getting set back up, and hopefully, I lost what I was going to say there. Hopefully we can get underway very soon indeed. For everyone watching at the moment, let me know if you are at least enjoying the stream, and of course, if there are any issues that are currently going on. I think everything seems to be fine on my end. I've got no drop frames or anything. There's not really much CPU utilization either, so I think it's going okay. We've got 3Van G saying XD. Okay, awesome. Yeah, not really many people been talking at the minute. We've got Richie in the live chat, of course, commentated that Lobby 1 race. Need to know how that one went. I was able to check in on it. That did look like a stacked grid, and of course commentated on the Esports Invitational last night. So yeah, very well versed in social races in WOR is Nathan Richards. I've commentated with him a few times. A very nice lad. Is saying it was great, bit dirty but fun racing. You know, that is just kind of inherent with league races. You know, dirty driving certainly does come out in all levels of competition. As yeah, we're just waiting to get this one back underway. It is very frustrating. I don't know why that has happened. And you know, we had 9 laps of fantastic racing, and then the game just decides, I don't want. You know, you're not going to keep enjoying this one. You're going to be put back to the start of the race. Don't know. They need to fix all these issues. A lot of bugs still in F1, but yeah. Hopefully online gets a little bit more love in the future. I'll bring you back over to the game, show you all of the drivers we've got this evening. Timo Kuipers is the host of this session. I don't know if it had anything to do with his PC crashing or something. Everyone's getting back in their cars. Goji in the Haas, Bastian Brunner in the Alfa Romeo, Akko Szezensky in the McLaren, Thiago Costa in the Red Bull, Matt Brain. It was Deha before in the Alfa Romeo. Now Matt Brain has joined the lobby. I'm all right by myself this evening. I've not got any scenes either for the joint webcam, but yeah, I'm all good by myself. But thank you very much for offering. Day has actually moved over to the Mercedes, which means Dimitri Minich, who is not in the lobby, who's not going to be joining us for the rest of this session. It's like playing a game of Guess Who. So Dimitri Minich, we'll see where he goes. He was in the Mercedes before. Now Deha is in that position. Matt racing Lobby 1 as well. So someone's obviously had to go. Matt Brain has stepped up to the plate, and he's going to be taking us on this evening in the Alpha Tauri. So okay, actually one of the Alpha Tauri drivers have gone. I'm trying to think. It was Walter and JR Daniel, and Daniel is in this lobby, so maybe Walter had to go, and then Matt Brain is taking up the helm. Could definitely see an interesting one. We've got 20 laps, so we are doing a 35% race, and it is actually it works out quite well. We did 9 laps of the original race, and then it is a 29 lap race. We've done 9 of them already. We had 20 to go, and that is what we're going to get. So we've essentially just had a red flag. That, you know what, first ever recorded online red flag. I think it's worked. The clickbait title can really come in handy. Yeah. Just waiting for a few more guys to get back into the session. Mate X was in the McLaren before, and then JR Daniel was in the Alpha Tauri. So who are we waiting on to get this session back underway? Both Aston Martins. That'd be what, Julio Figueira, and then one other that's I think what, Bas Bremer. In the McLaren, it was Akko Szezensky and then Mate X. Alpha Tauri was JR Daniel and Matt Brain, and then one of the Williams isn't in the session yet, and again the name is slipping in my head. I'm trying to think. It was Rainbow. Bas Bremer in the Aston Martin. Lots of Jarno Otmir faces in this one. Okay, thank you. I don't know if my my pronunciation of your surname there was working or not, but yeah, I could just say Akos. Or Akos or Akos, I'm not too sure. There's lots of pronunciations. Normally I'm okay with them, but I think I'm a bit rusty with all of my names on the F1 game. I've not commentated in a good few months now, so certainly this is a good way to ease myself back in, and a lot of unknown names as well. It's a lot to learn at the minute, but we are going to see all of these guys hopefully once the season kicks off. Season 15 set to be bigger and better than ever. I'm very much looking forward to the start of the season in the coming weeks. Of course, in the summertime, it's going to be very difficult for these guys to be driving. This is possibly when league racing is the most volatile, right at the start of the game, because everyone is learning how to get used to it. And of course, with the new handling model, you know, it can be difficult to get to grips with it all. So possibly it is going to be difficult for these guys to really show their true pace at the minute. However, I'd imagine in the coming weeks we're going to see plenty of guys improving on their skills. Maybe, who knows, we could see these one of these names in the top of the you know, maybe making in the top of tier 2, tier 3, maybe making an appearance in tier 1 every once in a while if a driver is unavailable. We've got all back in the lobby, so I'll run you through the grid once again. In the Red Bull is Thiago Costa and Jan DBR. Then Ferrari is Robert Dinalescu and then Red Sprogis. Mercedes is Dmitry Minich and Ryan Grob. Alpine is WR Rainbow and Ivan Santamaria. McLaren is TB8 Matex and Akos. And then in the Alfa Romeo is Bastian Brunner and Deha. Aston Martin, Baz Bramer and Julio Figuera. And then Haas, Daniel Gottschalk and Goji. AlphaTauri, we're still waiting for Daniel to get in his car, and Matt Brain. And then rounding off the grid is Timo Kuipers and Dominator. That was the name. Gross. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. It's the German one that looks like a B, I believe. And I imagine it's Swiss. Okay. Ryan Gross is the name. Apologies there. Is there a difference between tyre wear in 35 to 50%? I'd imagine that yeah, there is going to be more wear, but you know, in my own personal career mode, it was around. I'm sorry, all these names, all these names are getting to me. So it's Figuera. I think what was I saying before? Figuera. I'm not too sure, everyone. I do apologise for my my lackluster pronunciations. We're just waiting for the grid to be set, and then we'll get this race once again restarted. I'd imagine though, in terms of tyre wear, that yeah, it is going to be higher with the 35% race, but in my career mode, so it's Grob. Oh dear, I'm being confused. This is all too much to pile onto me. First race back, all of these new names, and I can't pronounce any of them. You know, hopefully, if I ever get to commentate on these guys again, I will learn every single name and have perfect pronunciation. I think it might just be my accent. Figuera, not too sure. I think Figuera. I'll go with that. I won't pronounce the U as much, as I really am running out of things to say. Let's talk more about Qatar. This is a very high-speed circuit. I've driven on it myself, and it is so difficult to get absolutely right. I'm a bit of a noob, and I do play with assists. I've only got the ABS and the racing line on, but even with that enabled, it is very difficult for me to get everything correct. And all these guys running no assist. We've now been put down to 14 laps. So is this going to be a 25% race to finish off this evening? I'm going to check in the Discord to see if we're doing a 50% or a doing a 50% or a 25%. Not too sure. People have taken notice to it, and it is confirmed it should be a 35% race. It is a difference of 6 laps, which could be a lot of incredible action that we'd be missing out. And there's more glitches apparently going on in the Discord. I do feel for Timo Kuipers, our lobby host. He's got so many things to deal with, setting up the lobby perfectly, getting the grid right, all with the bugs and glitches in the way. I think, what should I do whilst we're waiting? Someone in the live chat can maybe pop forward a nice fun fact about Losail. I think we could talk maybe about Fernando Alonso getting a podium here in an Alpine. That was an incredible moment where he was back on the podium again after so long. It would have been, since 2014? The last time Fernando Alonso would have been on the podium. Of course, McLaren Honda definitely promised a lot more than they ended up giving him. And unfortunately, he spent a good few seasons in that McLaren Honda, then left Formula 1, returned with Alpine, and in his first season back was able to take a podium here at this very circuit in Qatar. And you can see everyone at the top of your screens. We are about to get ready to get going once again for a 20-lap race. The weather has been set to dynamic, but being in Qatar, I wouldn't really expect anything else other than nice sunny skies. Whilst we're getting into this one, everyone, I think I'll join you on the other side at the end of a quick word from our sponsors at GridFinder. And getting ready to head back into this one. You can see everyone is just readying up, getting themselves back into the race. The ad is fire. I agree. I was watching that ad today. Of course, getting to add it into my scenes, and it's incredible. I really like the search bar that GridFinder puts in there. You can of course head over to gridfinder.com to find plenty of leagues that would suit your needs. As here we are then, getting ready for this race to start once again, as expected. For some reason the paddock is going crazy at the minute in my ears, and you can hear all of the whirring wheel guns, getting the tyres on the cars. We'll see what strategies everyone decides to take out. Soft to medium certainly would be possible in this, but I am curious to see how it does work out around Qatar. I think in its nature it just seems like a circuit that'll be really tough on the tyres, given that you know, it's there's a lot of fast corners. You know, you're right on the limit of grip throughout the entirety of it, and just being in such a hot climate, the tyres are going to absolutely be burning up. As here we are then, getting on the formation lap. I'd imagine everyone's going to be on the mediums or the softs. A few hard tyres dabbled in there for Doominator and Baz Bramer. However, the majority of the grid is on the medium compound tyres. Ryan Grob on the softs, Julio Figuera, as well as Daniel Gottschalk. And then the two Alpha Tauris, JR Daniel and Matt Brain on that tyre too. And it's so loud for some reason. I think I might have accidentally just turned up the volume in my ear. I'll turn that down. Hopefully you can hear me just as fine. We get this 20-lap race underway at the end of this formation. Rich Brogus on the pole position. They has been given a second chance here because he really did fall off into the start of this race. We've got an AlphaTauri at the front of the order. Matt Brain has just decided he wants to be the one to set the pace on the formation lap. Get all of the detailing off the screen for the time being. I'll bring it up once the race powers on. Matt Brain is having a race with the top guys. Richard Sprogus was promptly able to overtake him as Nathan Richards in the lobby. Of course, he was commentating the Esports Invitational last night, and then the lobby one tonight. He's all over the shop. He's everywhere at the moment. We'll see. I think he's just here to spectate this race from his own point of view. As Matt Brain, he's got to pull into a grid slot, and he's got to have everyone go past him. He's gone too far, and he's got disqualified. I saw it happening from a million miles away. As for Richard Sprogus, Deha, Ryan Grob, actually Richard Sprogus shouldn't be on pole position. He had that 5-place grid penalty for some reason. Dmitry Minic also taking a disqualification, as is J.R. Daniel. They'll be starting back a little bit further in their grid slots then for the second time here in Qatar. We are underway, and it looks to be a good start from Deha, headed down in towards turn number 1, trying to challenge to the rear of Richard Sprogus. Oh dear! Deha's been spun around! What has gone on there? I think it's been in contact with Ryan Grob. He's already got a 5-second time penalty for that one. Deha sent into a spin. Everyone else going off the circuit, trying to jostle for positions early on. Akos and Ivan Santamaria trying to make way into P3 as Ryan Grob up the inside now. Richard Sprogus so close to contact between the pair of them. Can Ryan Grob find a way through here? Richard Sprogus going to shut the door. He's going to have the inside line for the next lap, but Ryan Grob towards the inside at turn number 6. He sells him the dummy. He fakes right, then goes left, but it was not enough to work out as they head in towards sector 2. Richard Sprogus leading from Ryan Grob. Very early contact between Ryan Grob and Deha, as now we've got yellow flags. That's Matt Brain being sent into a spin. It's carnage very early on. We never really see an incident before the first corner, as Ryan Grob still on the back of Richard Sprogus, and this time he sends a committed move in the third sector. He gets that one done. He's now leading this race on the set of the soft compounder tyres. It is imperative for him to be able to lead from the get-go, because once he pits, he'll be on the medium tyres, and everyone else later on in this race is going to be on a set of the softs, and they'll have a lot greater pace, as Ivan Santamaria, unfortunately, after having such a good start to the last race, is now into the pits, and he retires from the session. Might have been some contact between himself and someone else, and he could have got some damage. I'm not too sure. Having a look at the biggest winners and losers, the biggest winner by far, Daniel Gottschalk, I believe, on a set of the soft compounder tyres. Yeah, these soft tyres definitely going to be working very early on, but it won't be long before they completely fall off the pace. And there's a lot of guys who have made up places in this race. Timo Kuipers, Goji, up 5 spots, as is Daniel, and actually there's a scrap for P12 at the minute between Kuipers and Goji, as Kuipers going to be able to fend off the pass following in behind. A little bit of contact up ahead between Brunner and Danella Skiers, now up the inside heading in towards sector 2 for Goji. My voice is already going as yeah, but oh my god, my voice is completely gone already. I need to get some water in a minute. Maybe if we get a safety car at some point, I can step away from my position in the commentary box and then go grab a sip. But Dmitry Minic following in behind Doominator. He's going to look towards the inside at the final corner, and he gets on by Doominator. Didn't have a good start in the last race. He spent a lot of it being overtaken by everyone, as Ryan Grob sets the fastest lap of the race. Richard Sprogus doing well though to keep with the Mercedes, as Julio Figueroa now looking up the inside of Akos Zensky. It's going to be mediums against softs as Daniel retires in the pit lane. That is already 2 retirements we've had on this one. Ryan Grob has now got 8 seconds worth of time penalties, given that he got a 5-second penalty for the contact with Deha. Then of course the 3-second time penalties just received for multiple track limit warnings. So lap number 3 certainly has brought out some carnage in this one, as Figueroa still on the back of Szynski in towards the second sector. Not really many overtaking opportunities in this part of the track. We've got a scrap for what is P13. Hello? I can't. There we go. I got it eventually. It's a fight for P14. Or P13, I suppose, as Deha recovering in this one. Now gets on by on Rainbow, and already is back ahead of Timo Kuiper. So it's a recovery drive beginning here for the Alfa Romeo driver. Is he on the soft compound? He's on the mediums. So this is incredible pace from him at this point to get up from the rest of the grid. He's now well and truly in the pack. Has got a battle for P8 and 9 and 10 as there's yellow flags in Sector 3. That's Thiago Costa around. I think there's been some contact with Bastian Brunner there. Couldn't quite find it as now Thiago Costa leaving the session. I think he's just retired on the circuit. Meanwhile, whilst that was all going on, Richard Sprogis gets on by on Ryan Grob as already those soft tyres beginning to deteriorate to the point where he cannot hold on to that lead. We'll have to wait and see as Bastian Brunner leads the session. He also retires on circuit, and already we've had 4 retirements in this Grand Prix, so it's been a very scrappy start with only 4 laps in of 20. See what happens from this point onwards though. Richard Sprogis being able to jump away from Ryan Grob has already got 11 seconds of time penalties. No one else has that on the grid at the moment, at least. Okay, never mind. Timo Kuipers picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits multiple times as Dimitri Minic gets on by on Daniel Gottschalk in the second sector, but pushing the Mercedes driver through is the Haas. Not happy that he's been overtaken. Akos takes a time penalty as well, so now they're coming out thick and fast. We saw this last time by as Daniel Gottschalk really on the limit here, trying to get by on Dimitri Minic. He knows that Dimitri does not have DRS, and he also doesn't have any battery by that blinking red light in front, so maybe he can try for a move. He opts not to tuck into the slipstream, headed down and towards turn number 1. I think if he followed behind Dimitri, he would have been able to make that move and get back into the top 5. Maybe at this point in the race though, he's just not interested on getting that move done. Take a quick breather for a second here, have a sip of my water. This race continues on. Timo Kuipers with another 3-second time penalty. Akos as he goes up the inside of Julio Figueira. He makes that move stick in turn number 6. Incredible stuff from him. I think the soft compound tyres really beginning to decay at this point already on lap number 5. I did say earlier on that the drop-off in this game is monumental. And if you're on the wrong tyre at the wrong time, you are going to feel it. So here we are then, continuing on this race. Richard Sprogis leading by 2.5 seconds ahead of Ryan Grob, who's racked up 11 seconds worth of time penalties. Akos following in P3 at the minute. I think he's going to want to get by as soon as possible because Ryan really is struggling. You can see the slide that he kicked up, I believe that's turn number 14 through there. Timo Kuipers again with more time penalties to his name. The same goes for Jan DBR. Here comes Akos heading in towards turn number 1. He's got the slipstream, doesn't even need to use the battery, heading in towards the first corner. He makes that move. He's up into P2 as ahead of Ryan Grob. Ryan Grob really is struggling with the tyre fall off as Timo Kuipers makes... Okay. It's cool, I guess. Yo. Nah. We're green here. What? What am I even watching at this point? I don't know if we're racing or not. Everyone's retiring, and we got the safety car out. What? Okay. I think what's happened is that because Timo's left the session after he retired, migrating host for some reason just didn't work at all. And the host normally is just meant to change, but I think it's sort of like reset the lobby or something. And yes, got an achievement. You can't see it in the bottom right of your screen, but I've just got an achievement, Eagle Eye, for spectating an online race. because this one is actually considered to be finished. The other ones haven't finished whatsoever. But yeah, I have no clue what's happened here, and I think a lot of guys not happy with the situation. I'll bring you back over the intermission scene. Yeah, this race is really not gone according to plan, and I think if this is the state that the game has been brought out in, what's the point of racing? Really and truly, you know, if this stuff is gonna happen, I don't know. And I'm just thinking, it was I'm excited for the achievement. It was one of the shiny ones with like the little box over it. That means very few players have actually got it. Can't I host? Someone's asking if I can host. I don't have any of the lobby settings. That's just gonna take too long, and I can't give a like yeah, everyone's leaving. I don't know what to do. I'll get word from someone, you know, about what I should do with the stream. I could plug in my wheel, drive some career mode if everyone wants. I don't know. At this point, I do apologise. It's been an hour and we've seen a combined 15 laps worth of racing here, so it really is quite unfortunate. We'll see what everyone is talking about. I think, yeah, wow, okay. So many people saying cancel, so many people saying restart. Seeing suggestions for 5-lappers. We could do some 5-lappers. Make that the social race. That's probably the amount of laps we're actually gonna get. You know? Before the game just breaks. I do apologise, everyone, for how this one has gone. I'm looking in the Discord. It seems like the vote is relatively split. There's 8 votes for cancelling and there's 6 for restarting at this point. But I think if so many drivers don't want to race anymore, is there really much of a point in doing anything? But yeah, I'm going to see if I can message Luke here and get everything underway. And you know, maybe try and get some confirmation of what is actually happening. And you know what? I'll send you back over to our wonderful sponsors at GridFinder. The little swipe of the mouse to make the GridFinder logo, you know, the way it is, the little mouse at the end. That was really cool. Everyone's leaving the lobby at this point. We have 7 people in here. Dan plus his ad has been the entertainment today. We had 9 laps of good racing, to be fair, in the first lobby, and then we hardly had any of it in this one. My voice has just been dead the entire time as well. Quite frankly, I'm quite hungry. I want to go make dinner. But yeah, you know, it's just unfortunate that this is the state of the game that is being released, where you can't even do a full league race. And I think I don't know what it has an issue to deal with. There was a lot of lag just in general throughout it. But as far as I'm aware, none of the other lobbies have had an issue like this, where it just resets you. Yeah. Hopefully a patch comes soon before league racing gets underway. I'm gonna check the Discord again, see what everyone's chatting, see what the verdict is. Because if we're not getting another race, I'll end stream soon enough. They're just talking about Simu cubes or something. It's a cool wheel. No, my Discord's not even working. Oh, there's so many issues that are going on tonight. Very interesting. I do apologise, everyone, on behalf of everyone here at WOR. We're just, you know, playing with the hand that we're dealt with, and it is very unlucky that this is the case. It's a very new game, and I guess we can cut them some slack that this is something they maybe just didn't expect would be an issue, but the developers really do need to get on this. If this is going to be a persistent issue in the F1 23 game, then it's going to ruin league racing. What if that bleeds over to the F1 Esports series? You never know, but yeah. I'm not getting a word from. I'm not getting word from anyone. I don't know what to talk about at this point. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look up some more LaSalle facts. Let's see. Racing history, of course. Formula One has only come here one time in the past, and that was won by Lewis Hamilton. That was what happened to Verstappen in that one? He had the fastest lap, but I actually forgot what happened to Verstappen in that race, and that really did help Lewis bring the gap down. Qualifying, yes. Oh, he had a 5-place grid penalty. Finished second, but Lewis Hamilton had run up the road by 25. Yeah, my bad. I forgot that race. I remember Pierre Gasly got a puncture somewhere along the road. Fernando Alonso got his podium. I think he actually legitimately beat Sergio Perez in that one, which is questionable how that happens. And Esteban Ocon was good. I think Alpine just were quick that weekend. And I'm gonna give it until 20 past. If there's no lobby at 20 past, I'm gonna end stream. I don't think we're gonna get going again. It's 20 past 9. I haven't made my dinner yet. What's everyone have for dinner this evening? Oh, got a question. Thoughts? Who's better driver at Alpine currently, as in Esteban Ocon or Pierre Gasly, or in this race? Because Fernando Alonso, all the way, he is my idol. I love that man so much. I think currently, I would maybe say Esteban Ocon. I don't know. I don't really know anything about Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. I don't even know if I've seen them on my screen watching F1 this season. I can't remember anything notable they've done at Alpine. So just pure vibes, Esteban Ocon is better than Pierre Gasly. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if there is actually any chat in here. Just talking about where they're from and everything. I'm from England, if you can already tell. And yeah. 17 minutes past 9 here at the moment. I really wish we did have at least a few more laps of racing. And if we could have got to the pit stop phase in any of our races, that would have been very interesting. Because I think I'd have liked to have seen how the strategy plays out in this game. I've not done a proper 50% race, and I've not commentated on anything yet. So it definitely would have been fun to have seen all of the action unfold. Who's had a worse start? Sargent or De Vries? De Vries, I think. Sargent's better than De Vries. Come on. Nick De Vries and what was he doing with Kevin Magnussen that weekend? Logan Sargent can't help that Williams is a tin pot. AlphaTauri, although actually, to be fair, that's not a good car either. But Yuki Tsunoda is clearing Nick De Vries, and Logan Sargent is being cleared by Alexander Albon. They're both quite bad. I love Logan Sargent, but he's not had a good start at all. So yeah, it's not looking good for either of them. If there's some rumours that Mick Schumacher, according to the paddock, Mick Schumacher is going to be replacing Logan Sargent, and there's some talk of someone replacing Nick De Vries. I don't know. It'd be cool if Ayumu Iwasa got a seat in F1. I think I really like Ayumu Iwasa. I don't think though Nick De Vries is going to get replaced at summertime. I think they'll give him this season. If he's not good this season, he's an experienced driver. You know, don't get me wrong. He's no slouch, and he's had plenty of Formula car racing experience. Of course, not in Formula One, but I think he's not that young either. So he's not got like that much time to actually develop into a superstar level driver, like the same age as Verstappen or something. So maybe even older. I'm not too sure. Really and truly, I think I'm gonna call it here though. Unfortunately, I do apologise everyone again for the situation we've been thrusted into. It is now 9:20 here, and we've not got any word. I'm gonna check one last time on Discord, see if we're getting a lobby. If not, I'm gonna end the stream. Tomorrow the race again. I don't know if we're gonna do it tomorrow. I'm not too sure. We could, but there might be some other races going on, and yeah, I don't think anything's going on through here. So really unlucky that this race has ended in that way. However, thank you everyone for tuning in this evening. It was a fun thing whilst it lasted. Make sure you follow WOR on Twitter at WOR League and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the big red button beneath the stream. You can't miss it whatsoever. And join our Discord for any WOR news that you would like to find. And with Season 15 on the horizon, now is a better time than ever to join that server. If you want to follow myself on Twitter, it is at DanfieldF1_. It's just below my name there. But from me, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for talking with me as well. It was tough, to try and fill the gaps just talking to myself. So I do greatly appreciate everyone talking to me and making this somewhat bearable. But I will see you once PC Tier 1 gets underway. I'll be being joined by Ryan Jacobs for that fantastic grid that is lining up, and I cannot wait for this season to get underway. But for now, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Thank you.